SimWorld, what's up? What it do? It's Rick Blaze, of course. It's that time. Good afternoon. Stop what you're doing. Cut your volumes up. This is BLAZIN takes the number one show here in SimWorld, and I'm with my forever beige brother, Siege. How we doing today?
Doing beautiful. We're here. Another great day for BLAZIN takes, and we got some spicy stuff to talk about here today, Rick. So
Of course.
I'll jump us off with the first one. I know that so report came through today. Olvin Carballo, cousin of Gabe Pope, Puerto Rican native. Yep. He committed to Southeast Select. He's going to play with Gabe. But that was posted, and there was a little discourse down there between Gabe Pope, Coach DeLeon, and even the owner of SimWorld Latin America, Vincent Arroyo. Vincent kind of called out Pope, Olvin, and even JMO, called all three of them out, said that, we talk about uplifting the game in our home country and in, the region, but all these guys are going stateside. Maybe there isn't – he's insinuating that they don't have this national pride. What do you kind of think about that? What's your take on all that? Maybe not just with Latin America, but in general in SimWorld.
Man, this is a loaded question. So I have to answer it this way first. Let me put the politics to the side for a moment. Now I know in real life politics always play a part, right? But just for a moment, let me put especially when we talk about these different countries, right? Let me put the politics to the side. Politics to the side. I think these players should be playing for their country. I think if you have the opportunity, you have the landscape that you've been given in SimWorld Prep, where you can get the same amount of attention or close to the same amount of attention as these teams in the United States. I mean, just imagine those guys being on that same squad, from Gabe Pope to J-Mo to Hennessy. Imagine those guys. That is a very great squad. Now, I'm not in the locker room. I wasn't in the meetings. I don't know what the coach was saying, what the owner was saying, or what they did not say. But if politics to the side, we're just talking about basketball. We're just talking about pride. They have enough talent, enough people from their country that could have made a very strong statement. You got to remember, our ground zero year, our ultimate champion, our world champion, global champion, was Africa that year.
Yeah.
Africa was our global champion. They beat the U.S. champion. I forgot who it was that year. Oh no, my team, Jameson Johnson team. DJ Charles' team. They beat that team. Pacific Northwest, what it was. Pacific Northwest lost. They won a championship, but they lost the global championship game against Africa. So, if these players stand by their country and they stay and play with a lot of pride, they can make a powerful impact, and the teams can be just as good and even better than some of these United States teams. Again, politics to the side, of course.
I think, look, I don't necessarily, at a very base standpoint, I agree with the ideology that you're talking about. This landscape's been given. There are teams that help you get to represent your home country, your home region, all that. But I think and I wouldn't even say this is bringing politics into it, but when you bring into it the landscape of really just not even internationally, but there's so many players who are going away from their home state, which, look, I'm on the same page with you. There should be some kind of I want to put my hometown, my home region on the map. Do I think that should be there? Yes. But politics still aside, you add in all of the kind of factors. SimWorld Latin America just brought back Coach DeLeon. Coach DeLeon got canned halfway through the season last year. They're only bringing him back because Bilardi decided to dip. And there were some issues between DeLeon and JMO. And so I think, yes, is it great to have national pride and say, I'm going to play for this? But also, we talk about it a lot. These players, they got to do what's best for their career. And I think
that's true.
Getting the exposure, going to the stateside, and, SimWorld Prep does give exposure to these international teams, but I think it's just a little bit of a mess. And there are rumors, Gabe Pope is insinuating that there was no direct reach out from Coach DeLeon to him or JMO or anyone about coming, that it was all through their agents and stuff. And so when you talk about national pride, it's kind of like there was a story early in the season that Gabe Pope was not closed off to the idea of departing Southeast to go home and play for SimWorld
Mm-hmm.
Latin America, but apparently
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't any direct contact with him about it. It was all just sending, some feelers through agents, things like that. And I think when it comes to that, if we're going to talk national pride, if you're going to call out a guy like Gabe Pope and his national pride, you got to go talk to him about it. You can't just
Yeah.
assume. Gabe Pope to me is even a different situation than Olvin and J-Mo, because Gabe Pope was on a team that just went to the Race to One championship.
Absolutely.
He was there, and we're all aware that Gabe Pope, for all intensive purposes, has the keys to the car that is Southeast Select this year. He's going to be their leader on the court, off the court. I mean, he's kind of their guy this year. Now, is he going to be their most talented player? That's yet to be seen. But is he going to be their leader? Trey Turner's gone. It's kind of Gabe Pope's show. The other two guys, look, I get it. The idea of playing for your country is great, but you also want to be on a winning team. Coach DeLeon didn't necessarily prove last year that he can put together a winning team. So I think it's a little out of pocket to call into question these kids' national pride. They're kids just trying to make the best decision for themselves. So I don't know that national pride even has anything to do with it. I see where they're coming from, but I don't know if that's really fair to put on these kids.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know about the conversations. I'm not aware of the conversations. And, I think, like you said, Gabe Pope's situation is a lot different than those other guys because he's already kind of made his mark with his team. All I'm saying, I think him returning to Latin America kind of went by the wayside once Bilardi left. All I'm saying is those guys all on the same team would be in a hell of a team. That's all the point I'm making.
And Richard Hennessy, too. I mean, we're talking, it would have been a competitive team.
That would have been a hell of a team.
It would have been a competitive team, and I think if Coach Leon could have come in and got them all together and talked about it and kind of instilled that, look at who we got, that would have been great. So for me, it's not a matter of national pride putting it on the kids to make that happen. It's a matter of the personnel that you brought in or you brought back in that didn't orchestrate that. I mean, these are the adults in the situation. These are the adults that are supposed to orchestrate that. And obviously there was enough interest to go orchestrate that with Richard Hennessy, but there wasn't enough to try and kind of instill that in these other guys. So I don't really blame them, but I do agree with you on the base fact that in SimWorld Prep as a whole, it would be nice for guys to, not just internationally, stateside too, to kind of have more of that hometown pride and want to put their home state on the map. That I agree with wholeheartedly, but I think when you throw in all the extra details and the landscape of what's going on this offseason.
Politics as usual, baby. Politics as usual, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. Speaking of politics, all right, what we got next?
Oh, this one's spicy, Rick. I'll tell you what, I got some opinions on this, and I feel like you probably do too. So, story broke this morning that Rocky Mountain Monstars owner, Devontae King, he went into the lock. He went to meet all the team, the new guys, the old guys, the coach, everyone. And he told them, hey, I own a couple of clubs in the area, all this. Like, you guys start winning, like, you can come through to the club. Like, I got you. I'll hook you up with. And these are all rumors, but he's rumoring he's going to hook them up when they come to the club. We'll leave the details to the imagination, but I want to get your thoughts on that. As an owner inviting, again, keeping in mind that this is a prep league. This is a high school prep league. What are your thoughts on this?
Hey, look. I feel this way. Man, let the boys live. First of all, let's if my man owns his own club, that means he also has the ability for one night or for one evening for his team to make it below 21 or below 8. These guys are 15, 16, 17 years old. I doubt very seriously if the owner has any intent of getting these guys having an illegal type of club with these young underage guys in there. So I think it kind of went a little bit too far out of hand. He can shut the club down on a Wednesday night, on a Thursday night, or even a Friday if he chose to, and have something for the players to kind of kick back and relax. I don't think the owner is going to do something to put his kids in put the kids in jeopardy, and then put his team in jeopardy by having adult type things amongst a bunch of kids. He just wants the kids, instead of not knowing what you're doing in your free time. Now I'm aware of what you're doing with your free time because we kind of all doing it. And it's team building at the end of the day.
Okay.
It's team building. I think, of course,
all right.
We kids, maybe we went bowling, movies, but I didn't have an owner I didn't have a guy that worth millions of dollars who could rent out the whole damn club, open his whole damn club, so we can do our own thing. I would love to have had that, but I think it's a little blown out of proportion, man. I think everybody need to
All
relax.
right. All right. You know what, Rick? I genuinely did not think about it from the standpoint of shutting down a club and making it, underage friendly, all that. And that perspective I love. If that's what's going on, I got no problem. And in fact, I'll say I love the move by Devontae King. Love that. Now, I'll bring a couple of the details into it because I think, but again, they're rumors. They're rumors, but this is BLAZIN takes, so we're going to talk about maybe the more hot topic stuff. The rumors are he was throwing around the idea of, I'll hook you up with girls, whatever you need, things like that. And that's where I kind of get a little bit because there's one or two ways that goes. If we're talking the situation is he shuts it down, makes it underage friendly, then is he saying he's going to hook them up with girls their age? Because to me, that is also that's crossing a line too. To me, or the other side is he's talking about adults, which either way, that gets a little choppy. And again, they're rumors, so I'm not going to go ahead and condemn Devontae King because I don't know all the details. Maybe he's the kind of guy who watches our shows and stays immersed in SimWorld. Maybe we'll hear from him. Would love to maybe have him on to speak. So maybe Devontae, if you're out there listening, we would love to hear from you, get an interview with you.
And it might be a situation with Mr. King where how guys are older, but they try to relate to the youth and try to kind of come across and seem cool. I think this is probably one of his attempts to do that, and it just didn't hit well. You know what I mean? Like,
there's a very good chance.
I get you some girls too. Like, come on, bro. We come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, he probably said a lot of things in jest, trying to be cool. We probably try to do the stanky leg or whatever else we're trying to impress the kid. You know what I mean?
I get that. I get that. And so again, I'm not condemning Mr. King. And we also know, as a lot of people will tell you, media does tend to blow things out of proportion. So the real story is never really going to be known unless Devontae comes out and tells us about it. But he doesn't really have a responsibility to do that. There's no evidence that he's doing anything completely wrong. So we're just kind of talking about it. So you know what? You bring up a lot of good points. Probably just him trying to relate. Maybe he's going to shut it down. And I'll be honest, Rick, for once on BLAZIN Takes where we argue, you've changed my perspective on something. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
There we go. And by the way, Stanky is an old dance at this point. They're probably doing the giddy, the gritty, whatever the kids do. Whatever the kids. All right, before we get out here, pick and roll topic is a moment in time where I pick a topic and then Siege, who doesn't know what's going on, has to roll with it. So, Siege, really quick, give me a time where something happened and you were saying to yourself, man, I got to be the most unluckiest guy in the world. But as a result, it ended up working out in your favor at the end. Name me a time where you was like, God dang, this would only happen to me. And you thought it was the worst thing ever. At the time it was, but it kind of ended up working out in your favor at the end.
All right, Rick, I'm going to give you an option here because I'm trying to decide how personal I'm going to get with this answer. Okay. You want some real backstory in the Siege, or you want kind of a surface, just something funny? What do you want?
I'm taking whatever you give him, brother.
All right. Well, the name of the show is BLAZIN Takes, so I'm gonna stick with that theme. Here's what happened, Rick. About a week before my 7th birthday, my childhood home caught fire, burned down. Parents, luckily, they got us all out of the house. Our dogs were outside in the yard at the time, so everyone's safe. We lost the house, we lost everything, but no big deal. Whatever. At the end of the day, but that's not the funny part. I guess, I say it's funny, but fast forward, junior year in college, that's way behind me. This is now, 15 years ago that happened, right? I get a call at 2 a.m. from my mother. And I'm talking 2 a.m. Your mom doesn't call you at 2 a.m. for good news.
Right, it's an emergency. Yeah.
Ever. Well, she answers the phone. She tells me, first thing she says, house is on fire. I said, that's not like a funny joke. I said, that's not a funny joke.
Right.
So, but it was lost everything again. Everyone got out, everyone's safe.
This happened twice.
Twice, and so that old joke. Lifetime? Burned down a second time. Had 2 house fires in my life, and I was kind of like, that's crazy. But you know what? When you talk about it working all for the best, nobody was hurt. nothing like that. And I took a great life lesson from both of those. Things are things. Material is material. The things you got in your house, material things, they can all be replaced. So that's something I live by. Just to get deep here on BLAZIN Takes, but I figured it's called BLAZIN Takes. Let's talk about something literally catching fire. So that was something that when it happened the second time, I was like, of course, like this would happen a second time. You know that old joke? If I had a nickel for every time my house burned down, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's crazy that it happened twice. So there you go. There you go, guys. There's a deeper one for you on BLAZIN Takes today.
Hey, even on BLAZIN Takes, sometimes we go from dropping some knowledge to sitting on the couch, and we each other's therapists now. I feel like this has turned into a Dr. Phil session.
That's what we do.
And we here. So man, put in the Discord. Man, that's deep. Put in Discord. Let's cuss and discuss. Give us your takes. I don't want to even rehash it. You know what it is. We're talking about the hometown pride, and then we also talking about what the owners may or may not be doing. And then if you have a time that something went good or something went bad, you think, but turn around was good for you, put that in Discord, and we'd love to hear you. Let's talk about. See, that was beautiful, brother. I have no other words for that. We will see y'all tomorrow.